Butch Jones and company trying to break out of that 9-4 mode, and also, more importantly, to an SEC Eastern Division championship and a possible conference championship for the first time in Knoxville since 2007. Mark Rogers TV, talking college football all the time with you as we rank all the schedules heading into 2017, 68 all the way up to number 1. That's all the Power Fives plus the major independents. Like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Mark Rogers TV, for the very best in college football coverage. If you haven't watched any videos, not just the rankings videos, but also our complete YouTube channel, please check it out. We've got the best bloggers and broadcasters in the country as our guests on a regular basis as we analyze college football just like about no one else. All right, Tennessee's got the 11th most difficult schedule in the SEC. It's number 31 in college football. Okay, Tennessee plays in the SEC Eastern Division. We know what that means. 2 tough games against Georgia and Florida. 2 fairly difficult games, a number of fairly difficult games, Kentucky, South Carolina, Vandy, Mizzou to a lesser degree, certainly, as the Tigers are probably the worst team in the SEC. Now, who does Tennessee have to play in the SEC Western Division? That, of course, is key. We looked at an earlier schedule. I believe it was Kentucky, yes, that has Mississippi State and Ole Miss. So that's probably the lightest touch you can get in 2017 out of the West. For Tennessee, it's possibly the most difficult draw out of the SEC Western Division. Alabama, their cross-division rival, got to play the Tide every year, and then they also have LSU at home. What weights down Tennessee's schedule in terms of difficulty is the non-conference is not that tough compared to the other teams in the SEC, i.e. Florida plays, get this, Michigan, of course, in the opener, and Florida State. Maybe the most difficult non-conference slate in the country. And Georgia has, of course, the Georgia Tech game and Notre Dame. So Tennessee's got nothing close to that. They've got Georgia Tech in Atlanta to open the season on September 4th. So if you compare that just in non-conference play to Georgia, the Georgia Tech games cancel each other out for the most part. Despite Tennessee playing a neutral game against Georgia Tech, it cancels out their comparison with Georgia. But in addition to that, Georgia has to go to South Bend to take on Georgia. For Tennessee, their other 3 non-conference games, pretty light. Indiana State at home, UMass on September 23rd, and Knoxville in later in the season, November 4th, to break up the SEC portion of the schedule. They've got Southern Miss, the number 100 team according to the ESPN Power Index, the Golden Eagles of Southern Miss. So for Tennessee, their toughest stretch comes starting September 30th when they play Georgia. Then they do have the bye week. Then they've got South Carolina and Alabama. So it's not necessarily a murderer's row, especially when you factor in the bye week, but that would be the toughest stretch for Tennessee. Georgia, South Carolina, and Alabama with 1 bye week to prepare for the Gamecocks. Butch Jones in Tennessee looking at the 11th most difficult schedule in the SEC. It's number 31 in college football. Check out the initial video where we explain the madness in the process of ranking these schedules right here on Mark Rogers TV.